Today's video is going to be a little bit more personal than videos that I've done before. Actually, a lot more personal. I'm going to be talking about what it's like to lose your mother at a pretty early age in life. This isn't to exclude or alienate people who might have lost their parents at like a very young age, because I'm speaking about when I was 14, so early teen years, but it's not to exclude people who lost their mom when they were, a child, or later in life as young adults, or even older than that, because I'm sure that a lot of feelings kind of like overlap. So I think it kind of spans all age groups of the experience. So anyway, before I get started, I just want to make it clear that I'm, first of all, not saying that losing a parent is the worst thing that ever happened to you, or I'm not trying to look like, oh, pity me or anything like that. I'm just trying to put this out there for myself, and also just for anybody else who might be going through similar experiences or has gone through them, or I don't know, it's just for stuff like that. And I'm not trying to downplay losing your father or losing a grandparent or losing anybody who may have raised you or been a role model in your life, nor am I trying to make it seem like it's more serious, as a daughter to lose your mother than a son to lose your mother. I just can't speak from that experience, so I'm just speaking about my own, and I just thought I'd get that out of the way, because I just, don't want to offend anybody. It's not my goal. So I lost my mom when I was 14. Like I said, she was diagnosed with cancer when I was 11 years old, breast cancer. It was really unexpected because she was only 30, and I have young parents. My dad's only 40 and I'm 21, so I was born when my parents were 19 and 18 years old. And my mom found a lump in her own breast during a self-examination. She went to the doctor to get it checked out, and they pretty much brushed her off and said, oh, it's just natural hormonal changes. Breasts change in consistency and shape during certain times of your cycle, so it's nothing to worry about. And they completely brushed her off, and finally she just went back and was like, no, this is a problem, you need to check it out. And it turns out it was breast cancer. I was in 6th grade. My brother was 9. My parents sat us down at like a family meeting and broke the news to us, but I remember them being so extremely positive about the entire thing, and that was basically the theme of my mom's battle with cancer, was just being positive. And while that was good while she was sick, it led to a lot of challenges after she passed away. It's taken me a long time to sort through all this and comprehend why things played out the way they did, why my parents presented my mom's illness in the way that they did, and why I felt the way I did right after she died. Because, to be honest, after my mom died, I really felt like she died in a car crash or just in some random event, not because she was sick for years. Which sounds so strange, especially because cancer is such like an evident thing. I know she had a mastectomy. I would see, I'd hear her throwing up. But anytime I tried to talk about it with her, she just didn't want to talk about it with me. And she was always just still in a good mood. She still worked. She would drive my brother and I to all of our sports games, drive us to school, pick us up. Just wanted to live her life as normally as possible. And that's why when she died, I really just was not prepared in any way. We never talked about the possibility of her passing away. It just wasn't an option. So when it happened, I just never truly considered it. I had moments, obviously, where I would cry and be really afraid, but I never truly comprehended that my mom could pass away. And part of that just might be because I was young. When you're older, you have more of a comprehension of death and its finality and its inevitability. But as a young teenager, I still kind of had that invincible streak in me, I had way more comprehension of death and life in general than a young child. But at the same time, I didn't really have the tools or the coping mechanisms to really process those things. It's like I had the information, but I didn't have the tools to do anything useful with it. It just kind of sat there floating around in my head and led to a lot of frustration as I tried to work through it all. So, yeah, the weekend that my mom died, I mean, I won't get into specifics, but it was like, it caught me completely off guard. I came home from school, no one was home. I figured she had a doctor's appointment, and the next day I was saying bye, and at that point she couldn't speak. She couldn't even hardly keep her eyes open in the hospital room, and I just, it was really difficult. It's still difficult to think about, and I'm like getting all teary-eyed, but it just led to a lot of feelings of guilt because you're thinking, I had all of this time to say goodbye, and I didn't do it. And then it came down to the moment, and it was too late already. So, not to get all emotional, but that was one of the hardest things for me. It was trying to figure out why my mom didn't let me in, and dealing with the feeling that I was a letdown, that I wasn't there for her. I wasn't a shoulder she could cry on. I wasn't, I just didn't have that sort of relationship with her during her illness. And, I voiced this to my dad finally one night, and he was like, Ashley, that's what your mom wanted. She didn't want you to be the shoulder that she leaned on. He's like, you were 11 years old when she was diagnosed, and she wanted you to have, she knew that if she died, your life was going to be changed forever and who you were as a person. And she wanted to postpone that from happening as long as she possibly could, and she just wanted my brother and I, to just be normal, happy kids and not let cancer overtake our lives, our everyday lives, the way it had overtaken hers. And as I'm getting older, I definitely understand that more, but it's just hard to get rid of those feelings that I wasted so much time being so self-absorbed, that I should have been devoting more of my time to her. But that's exactly what my mom didn't want, so it's conflicting, because that's what I want, but that's not what she wanted. In the end, what she wanted was way more important. But like I said, so when she did die, I just didn't know what to do, and I couldn't believe that it had happened, and I didn't know where to go from there, and I suddenly developed this extreme self-consciousness that, like, all of a sudden I just felt completely helpless, and that I wasn't going to be able to get through any of life's challenges without a mom, which I don't know if it's just my age, the fact that I was kind of coming of age. I was 14, I was in the middle of my freshman year in a very small town, not very small, people are from smaller places, but in my high school total there was about a little over 400 people. So right after my mom died, I became the girl whose mom died. Like, seniors and juniors and just people I had never, I knew of them and they knew of me, but all of a sudden I felt like there was a spotlight following me around, and everyone was watching my every move, and all of my teachers were waiting for me to have a meltdown, and I didn't like the attention. I didn't like it, and I just got very self-conscious. Like, I thought that everything was wrong with me, and more so, teenagers go through that in general, but then I felt extremely self-conscious, and it's something I've had to deal with for a long time, especially now that I'm in my 20s. I'm 21, and I still am petrified that I'm not turning into a woman the way I should, that somehow other girls with mothers know more than I do, or privy to some secrets of womanhood that I don't know. And I feel like in certain circumstances it has taken me a lot longer to grasp simple concepts of, I don't know, not even femininity, because I'm a very feminine girl. See, that's the thing, I still say girl, I don't say woman. I'm just feel completely inept when it comes to a lot of things that I wish I could just call up my mom and just talk to her about. And at the same time, I know that, that sort of thinking is dangerous, because after you lose your mom, it's easy to idealize what your relationship could have been, and to say it would have been perfect and it would solve all your problems if she was here. But the truth is, it's not that way. Like, your relationship with your mother wouldn't have been perfect, and you would still have problems. And maybe this is just who I am. Maybe I would have been insecure no matter what. And but it's easy just to say, oh, well, it's because I lost my mom, and it came from that. But, I don't know if that was the causation or just a factor that kind of amplified a part of me that was already there. So there's that. And a lot of like life events that haven't happened yet and aren't close to happening, like having a baby or getting married, just terrify me. I don't like thinking about them because my heart starts racing if I think about going into labor, or just even finding out I'm pregnant and not having my mom there to call to tell her, or knowing that my kids will never know their biological grandmother is just terrifying, because your mother is such a big part of your life, especially if you have a good mother like I did. So that scares me, and going into labor and raising your children and not having someone to ask. I have a stepmom, but she's never had children, and my mom didn't have any siblings. My dad has some sisters who try to be there for me as much as they can, but it's just, it's not the same. So that freaks me out, and getting married and just anything like that. I was terrified of graduating high school, but I got through that in 2008. And that's the thing. Like, once it was over, I was like, I was a little sad. I was more than a little sad. I was very sad after I graduated. Then I got through it, and that's when I know it'll be fine. I'm gonna get married someday, and I'm gonna have a baby, and I'll be okay. It's not. There's plenty of people who've done it, and I need to have more faith in myself and my strengths and my abilities. So there's just trying to think. Just kind of rambling, I know. There's so much more to talk about, but I just decided to throw this together. So, but basically, if anybody else has gone through the same thing, which I'm sure a lot of people have, don't hesitate to reach out, because there are many people who have lost loved ones and their mothers, and you might feel like the only one. Literally, I was the only person in my high school who had a mom who passed away during that time. So I understand feeling like you are some tragic freak. So, but you're not. I swear you're not. And yeah, I will talk to anybody. If anyone wants to talk to me, it's completely cool. And maybe I'll make some more videos about this, because there's so much more to talk about. So if you have any questions or want to know anything, just let me know. I don't mean to get all emotional, certain parts of it. Oh, and also for clarification, mother loss, really, I define as, it's not even just your mother dying. It could be abandonment, maybe your mom left your family, or maybe she was just emotionally vacant. There's so many ways that you can lose your mother, so I'm not trying to even say that like death is the only way and the only way you'd be feeling any of this. So hopefully no one feels like that, and thanks for watching. I hope you get something out of this.